That was weird. What the hell? Is it time for the coffee run, really? I mean, my God. I tell you what, I think Mondays need to just be Mulligan Day. All the way around Mulligan Day on Mondays. My camera's all jankety. What the hell? There we go. That's better. Yeah, I forgot hit the wrong start button. All sort of things went wrong today. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Coffee Run here on Casino Gaming TV. I'm John from ProCraps, and probably a shorter than normal show today. I've actually got to get on the road. I got a road trip today, so. But I'm going to get into some fun stuff, I think. And I say fun, I mean math is fun. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's talk about the law of large numbers today. It's one of those topics that I don't know if it's boring or not, but whatever. I think it's a thing we have to get into. Is that Adam G? Good morning, dude. How you doing, man? Haven't seen you in a while. Haven't seen. Oh, and jumping up to the top. I'm telling you what. I have all sorts of tech problems today. Whatever. It is what it is. Anyway, here we go. All right, what's happening here in the world? The shooters tournament's going. I think I'm going tomorrow night. I think we've only got about 5 or 6 guys left to go, so we're kind of grinding down to the 32. I did a practice run this morning upstairs in the Deli Paycheck. It didn't go well. Didn't shoot very well from the left side, but I'm getting ready for my shot tomorrow night with Chris from DGen. So far, so good. Looks like still 17 is about the midline that we're looking to get qualified. It's going to be a tough qualifier. And then the 16 are going to be tough, man. And that's when we start getting into some roll quality score indexing and that kind of thing. So it'll be fun. Hope I can make it in there and keep going. But if not, of course, I'm still hosting and playing that role. So anyway, there's that. The Deli Paycheck today didn't go well. Hopefully I have a good week though. I'm trying some stuff out with the Paycheck. I'll show you here in a minute what I'm working through. And I want to give kind of equal time to these things as best as I can. So we'll talk through some of that and kind of my thoughts on it. And then, of course, continuing on our math conversations, which are super exciting, we're going to do law of large numbers today. And that'll lead us into this idea of short-term versus long-term play. We'll get to talk about variance as a result of that. And we'll close out the week talking about my favorite topic and yours, trends, and why they don't exist, but why they are right here, front and center for everybody. So we'll talk. All those things kind of bleed together. So it should be hopefully, I think, an interesting week for everybody. So with all that said, let me jump in here and get into where we are Deli Paycheck wise. So Deli Paycheck has had we've had better weeks, right? Last week I kind of donked it a little bit. Today we kind of donked it a little bit. It's just bad throwing. I've been doing this thing where I come out there and sort of little horseman, little warm up. Let's see where we are before we get started. And then I feel like I'm okay. I'm warm and ready to go. And I go up 7-7-7, just destroy myself. Ultimately, what you find is that unless you're, how do I word this correctly? Unless you're an accomplished shooter, and let's just say that dice influence works. Let's say you're one of the guys that can do it. The warm up period makes sense, right? For somebody like me, who's just getting started with it, and a year in, I'm just getting started. I would consider myself. B, zero skills, like very, very limited skills with it. The warm-up period doesn't really matter for me, right? And again, jury's still out, I guess, right? The thing of it is, it doesn't really matter when you go out, especially when you look at variance and the law of big numbers kind of as a grouping, right? Because one can't exist without the other, but one also, you'll see later on, doesn't really matter. Where you end up playing in that session, whether it's a good or a bad session, ultimately it's gonna even out in the end, right? It's just a matter of how today looked. And I think we're finding that whether I start out of the gate or whether I wait 10 rolls or whether I wait for a shooter, I'm gonna win or I'm gonna lose based on whatever. It's just gonna happen. Hasn't worked out well, but what I'm gonna do is this. We're gonna try and test some different ways to play. Now we know all the strategies that we like. We know we love the red cross. We know we love the drawdown. We know I love the pineapple press or slash the tier pressure. They're kind of the same thing. Um, One of those, like I did today, is more of a build up from the bottom strategy. And I say this all the time. There's really only three ways to play right side craps, right? You can build up from the bottom. You can go, I'm going to start down here. We're gonna grow our bets. We're gonna press for a number of times and get out. You can stand pat, go out 2040 across, right? And just go and collect 500, 500, 500, 500. Just take four hits and go home, right? That's a way to do it. Just go out where you're going to be and stay there. The third way is to draw it down, go up high and come down to something, right? Whether or not you keep playing after a point, if you can build up from 1080 across to 1600 across and keep playing, or build up and then go home, your choice. But from the right side, that's all you can really do. Again, I'm taking negative progressions and pressing patterns out of the mix. I'm saying from the way you're going to quote unquote play. You either build up from a small base, you go mid tier and you stay there, or you start high and come back down. Either way, we're going to try them all this week. We're going to try, today I tried a little build up strategy. I needed 3 hits to get there, never got the 3 hits. Not once did I get 3 hits. I went back to the drawdown and got my drawdown to work like 4 times in a row, like it ought to. It just kind of like what's going to happen for you today. But those are and I want to really kind of highlight and play into these 3 basic ways to play right side craps all the way through this week and maybe even in the next week too. And just give you more of a live lens on those play styles, whether it's build up, stay there, or come down. Everything else is a variation of those basic plays. And I want to really kind of lean in the paycheck to playing consistently those ways. So there's that. So far this week and last week, we're losing a little bit of ground here, which kind of sucks, but it'll come back. It'll come back. I know we're going to get on a good run, and we'll make it work. We'll have I know we're going to have a nice day where we have a good long roll. We'll get our paycheck. We'll have an excess run. We'll catch up some of that loss. And I think if you look at like the way these paycheck strategies work, and I think again, when you look at the math of all this stuff, the law of large numbers, today's topic, you're going to get, if you stay at your bets, right? And here's where the casino makes their money, right? When you stay at your same bet and you just you're going to win or you're going to lose based on random probability, you will eventually lose to the house edge. That's just the way that it's set up for you to lose. The only way to get out of that mess is to get a couple of house money hits and run with that. A couple of house money hits and run with that. And jump out of the variant when the variant is still good for you. You're going to hit the negative variance for sure. You're going to get in a bad place. The trick is stay in the bad place for as short a time as you can and with as low bets as you can. It starts going south. You got to play it low, right? Until you win a little bit and then use the house money wins to kind of help get you back. That's how the paycheck's been working for us, right? We've had a couple of donks in there, but we always seem to have that nice one day where we catch back up again. And you got to have that spike to make it work. And just waiting for the spike to happen this week. All right. So here we go. We have King Dice and Buckeyes. Oh, Buckeye is King Dice crap. Is that what's going on? You gotta elaborate some on that. All right, here we go. Let me jump into the next thing. And I want to really get into this idea of how the law of big numbers works. It's so misunderstood and it's misused. And I think I've watched a lot of videos on this. I'm trying to find the right way to teach it and present it. And Jack Hayes at Jack Ace has done an amazing video. I have a link to it here in this one. It's awesome. There's a bunch of math nerds out there that have done law of big numbers videos that are really, really good. They don't focus on maths or on gambling so much. I want to kind of give it a gambling frame, but I want to give you sort of a look at why we say the casinos always win. And why I also say that to some degree, the law of big numbers doesn't matter to you and me. And I know that's going to tick some people off, but let's go to it. Okay. Reminder, right? Of all the core principles that we hold, right? Having a goal, having a solid strategy, which is going to dictate the way that you win. Having a good bankroll so you can withstand the losses or plan for it anyway, right? Having a good mindset, having solid discipline, and finding success in knowledge, in understanding rhythm and understanding volatility, understanding variance. All that has to work together, right? So here we go. Let's talk about the law of big numbers. So again, our gambling series here, we're in Gambling 301 now, which is all about the math. And in session 7 here, law of big numbers, I want to really talk about for the gambler out there, the ways the casino really draws it out and makes their money from us. And we talked last week in previous sessions, I guess, a little bit about house edge and how over the course of time, the house edge will bleed you dry. We looked at like after 5,000, 10,000 wins, just the drastic nature of how much the house edge sucks out of your life, right? Hundreds, thousands of dollars, right? You're hundreds of wins behind. The law of big numbers plays into that. I'm going to show you why the casinos don't care about you winning. They really don't care about you winning. And people go, why? Yeah, they really don't. They don't care about dice controllers. They don't care about nothing because they have math on their side. They have time on their side. Okay. So why does the house always win? Reason number 4 is this law of big numbers. And all that it means is this, the simple definition on screen there. It's the result becomes closer to expected value as the number of trials is increased. And that's it. This is more of that secret sauce that the casino has that you just don't have, right? They're going to play this long game and we're playing a short game. I'm going to put that in air quotes. We'll talk more tomorrow about what the short game means for you and me, but yeah, this is what's going on. And the only question that matters in all of this, I think, is where are we relative to probability? And I think if you look at your time at the table, you will never be in anyone's, I mean, I'm going to put air quotes in around never, but never. You're never going to be during your session at a table at probability. You're very rarely going to sit there for, 100 rolls and see exactly 16.7 sevens and see, 11 sixes, like whatever the numbers are, or 13.86. You're not going to see the right number of anything during your 100 rolls that you're at the table tonight. It just won't happen. It's so rare that even one of the numbers pops perfect during that. So you want to know where you are relative to probability. And here's the thing. The fewer trials that you've got, right? If you only see 25 rolls, right? The wider the gap is going to be between where you are, right? We call it the margin for error or the variance between reality, where you are, and the probability where you ought to be. Okay. The more data that you get, the closer you are. And I'll give you a couple good examples here. We can do kind of a political example that I think makes a lot of sense. And here it is, right? Given 100,000 people, okay? Let's say we ask 2 people how old you are, an 8-year-old and a 90-year-old or whatever, right? That probably is close. But if we have a 35-year-old and a 42-year-old, right? You can't average that out and get anywhere close to the average age of the population of that 100,000 people, right? 2 people is not enough to get a good average. If you ask 100 people, now you're getting closer, right? 100 people is a pretty good random sampling, right, of how close you're going to be to the end. If you play politics at all, you've probably heard of all these polls, right? Gallup's got a poll, Rasmussen's got a poll, who's going to win the election, whatever. Those polls, they always say a margin of error of plus or minus 2 or 3 or whatever percent, right? They can sample 2,000 people, 2,500 people, and get close enough within 2 or 3 points of 140 million people with that small of a sample size. As long as the sample size is perfectly random, you can't go to like a Trump rally and get a sample from that and get a gauge, right? You got to randomly go. That's an interesting thing, isn't it? You don't need a whole lot, right, to get to a pretty close look at what's going to happen, but you got to get past 2 or 3. Okay. And in our world, consider 36 rolls at a table or 100 rolls at a table that you see compared to the million or billion rolls that the casino sees, right? You're in that realm there where we've asked 2 people out of 100,000. That's where you are. Your gap, your margin for error is enormous compared to what the casino sees. The casino is always working on that tiny little margin there kind of at the end. So we're going to consider today the 7 in craps. Okay. I'm going to show you a little spreadsheet that's going to kind of like lean into this thing for you, right? So we know that there's a 16.67% chance of rolling a 7. That's 1 out of 6 chance. We know that, which means out of 100 rolls, you ought to see about 16, closer to 17, right? In 1,000 rolls, you ought to see about 167 sevens. In 10,000 rolls, 1,667 sevens should come. In 100,000 rolls, you'll see 16,667. If the percentages hold true, I can guarantee you this. When we do a trial of 100 over and over and over and over again, very, very rarely will you ever see exactly 16. It's going to be bouncing around because it's a small sample size. But as we stack hundreds after hundreds after hundreds after hundreds, you'll start seeing that we come closer to where you're supposed to be. The more numbers you get, the closer you get to what you expect. And I want to show this to you in a spreadsheet. So let me go and switch my screen over here, and I'll give you a kind of a cool, I think, window into how this looks. Let's go over to here. Hopefully you will see my browser. There we go. Okay. So this is a spreadsheet that I put together that we're going to give ourselves kind of the benefit of the doubt here. Okay. Let's say that we have 1,000 rolls, and in the 1,000 rolls, we rolled 100 sevens, which is less, right? 1,000 rolls total. We rolled 100 sevens. In this particular slice, that was 10% of the rolls. 10% of our rolls were sevens. The aggregate number we've rolled so far is 10%, right? And our delta, which is what's different than what we expect, is 6.67%. We rolled 10% of our numbers were sevens. We should have 16. We're off by 6%. That's normal, right? In a small sample size, what I would consider a small sample size of 1,000 rolls, that's probably okay. Let's do it again. Let's take that actually and do it again and again and again and again. Let's say that after 5,000 rolls, okay, you're seeing a consistent 100. You can even, 99, 105, 98, 97, whatever, and 103, right? Whatever. And you're kind of, you're hearing this delta. And I think what people think is this: the mistake people make about the law of big numbers, and I mentioned this last week with gambler's fallacy, is that because we're so far behind on the sevens, right? We're really far behind, right? This number should be, whatever, another 200 or 300 sevens should be in here, okay? That the world owes us some sevens. The universe owes me a 7. It owes us a couple of rounds here where the sevens are 200 instead of 160, right? Let's do this. I'm going to copy this last line here. Watch what happens. I'm going to take this one here. We're going to put 167 sevens in there, okay? I'm going to simulate what would happen if we had 5,000 roll sessions in a row where the sevens were 6% below what they should have been, right? Way below, right? The world owes us a bunch of sevens. You don't have to have the sevens catch back up. If we just rolled normal expectation. Now watch this. I'm going to take this line here and I'm going to copy this a bunch of times. I'm just going to make a copy of it. Watch what happens. Look at this, right? If we just rolled the right number of sevens, another, whatever this was, 16 times, look at where the delta goes to, right? We were at 10%, we were off. And now all of a sudden we're getting the right number of sevens. We're not even getting extra sevens. We're just getting the right number of sevens. Look what happens to our deviation here. It comes down to 1.55. If I copy this another, whatever number of times, let's just copy it down like to here. I don't know what that's going to be. Look at that. Now we're at 36,000 rolls. Let's copy it again. Let's do another, I don't know, 49,000. We'll do 50,000 rolls. So after 50,000 rolls, right, we had the first 5,000. We're like, wow, we are crushing it, right? The casino's going, oh my God, we're so far behind on sevens. The world owes us some sevens to make money off these poor people, right? It doesn't. If it just goes back to normal and you play normal forever, look what happens. The more that you have, the closer it gets. We're at less than 1% now after 50,000 rolls. If I go this to 100,000 rolls, this will be almost at 0. Even though we had all these early ones, right, where we were way above or way below expectations on the sevens. And what this tells you with the law of big numbers is that you don't have to get 10 sevens this time and then 23 the next time to make it work, right? What it tells you that these variations down in here were, in our case, big variations, right? For 1,000 rolls, that's a lot. That's 67 less sevens than you want to see. You should be making money in here, right? For sure. And like I said, you go, woo, did it, baby. Casino goes, don't care. Why doesn't the casino care? Because they know that in a week, they'll be right back where they belong, right? And they're playing this thing for billions of rolls where this number will always be at or near 0. Even if there's a couple of days where there's aberrations like this, they don't give a crap. They're going to make their money no matter what, because when it gets down to here, when it's down into this realm, when there's almost no variation, guess what happens? The house edge takes over and they're making that 4, 5, 6% on every single one of these rolls down here. When this is zero or close to zero, that house edge is pure profit for them. Up in here, yeah, they're giving some away. They're going to give some away on these earlier rolls, but they're going to get it all back down in here. Even when it comes out to perfect random, they're just banking house edge all the way through here, right? And again, it isn't like the sevens caught up and became extra. They just got back to normal. That's an interesting thing, right? Let me take all these out of here. I'm going to show you this again. We're going to take them all out. Actually, we'll take the bottoms out. And I don't want to fudge the numbers too much, right? Let's take this all out. And I've got a formula up here, over here, that will generate random numbers for us. I'm going to take this over here. And so we have the same 5,000 rolls where we're below average. We can even do this. I'll even do it at like 75. We'll make them all 75. We'll put them all just like, look at that. We got half the sevens we're supposed to have, like 9% delta. I'm going to paste this in. And what this does, this thing rolls. This rolls 1,000 numbers and it counts the sevens. So it's going to be a random number of sevens throughout. This is going to be, oh boy. I don't need that, do I? I don't think I need that at all. Right? Ah, crud. My references got jacked because of that. Hold on a second. That's going to be C. Ah, crud. Give me a second here. I'm going to go ahead and I got to do something. I got to put that back where it was because the references are wrong. Give me a second here. I'll fix this all up in a second. Don't need that sheet. There it is. All right, let's do this again. Sorry, it was just a number reference thing. I'm going to put this in here 5 times. These will be 75. We're going to go way below the average, 75, 75, 75, 75. So we're getting this 9% delta all the way through. We're like so far behind on sevens right now. 5,000 rolls should be like a lot of sevens. It should be like a lot. Here we go. Let's put this back in. Now this should give us the right thing. Hey, here's again a random number of sevens. Okay. I'm going to copy this random number of sevens in. And again, this is not me fudging the books. This is a completely random number. Watch, I'll do like 5 of them. It'll take it a second to calculate. And here we have like way more sevens, a couple less sevens, a bunch. So this can be like a day at the casino, right? Let's run this out. Watch what happens. I'm going to go here. Give it a second to pump through. Look at this. We're at 28,000 rolls. We're almost to zero. And again, randomly, this is not me cooking the books and saying, oh, if we just have perfect numbers here, look at this, look at this, look at this day. Can you imagine being at the casino here? 201 sevens out of 1,000. Oh my God. Horrible. But look at us. We're getting close. We're at 43,000 rolls and we're at a 1% difference. Let's just get another. Now we're at 83,000 rolls, it looks like. And we're at, look at that. We're down below a percentage again. If I get to 100,000, I'll bet you will be almost freaking there. 94,000, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do 100,000 even. One more. Look at that. 100,000 rolls in. We're at less than 0.5% difference. And I'm just going random, right? These are pure random. And we started out with this massively behind. The casino doesn't care because they know after 100 grand or whatever the number is, the more you get, the closer they're getting to what they want to see. It doesn't matter. Okay. And I think that's the most important thing. The world doesn't owe you sevens or sixes or fours or whatever else is going to see. If it's running behind, it doesn't have to have a bunch of these to catch up. It doesn't, look at it. We're below. We're still below. All these are below expectation, right? Because you're going to be flipping and flopping all over the place. It's going to catch up to itself. And again, if I put all these numbers in the exact 167, it catches up even faster, right? That's the best visual I can give you on this thing is that it doesn't matter if you're exceeding it or not. It will always work itself through. Look at some of these days. There's a day in here where it was below 100. Oh wow, that was look right. Is it right there? I thought I saw it go by. Anyway. I think it's interesting when you look at this stuff. It doesn't have to go above. And I think, I have done this in the past too, right? I used to think, oh yeah, if I only see, 75 sevens, right? It's got to come back. It owes me, right? Or if I've seen 177 sevens, at some point it's got to come. It's gonna give me whatever 10 less sevens. It's not how it works. It's just about numbers of trials. You get into these kind of numbers up here, it don't matter. Now again, we'll talk more about this tomorrow and even the next day too. We play here. We play here, right? We don't play here today at the casino. In my garage today, I played 100, right? I played 100 rolls. If I change this to 100, right? That's what we're seeing. We're seeing at 100, I got 19 sevens today. Out of 100, I got 18 sevens today. Oh boy, that's a bad day. That's a bad day at the house right there, huh? You should see 16. That's what you expect to see, about 16 or so, right? Out of 10 rolls, I was short gamer, right? 2 out of 10, 20% sevens. Holy crap, right? The wild variations with the smaller numbers are where we live. We live here. We don't even live here. Maybe over a weekend you live here. The casino lives here. And what they're seeing is almost, or my numbers, almost no variation. They're seeing almost no variation. That's law of big numbers. They don't care one iota. Let's go back over to the other screen here. Let's go here and reiterate that, right? The bigger the sample size, the closer we get. The more times I randomize it, we might have 10% difference to start, and then it always comes back to almost perfect no matter what happens. And it's not because we got more. You can see that it does that even when it's perfect. Even after being 1,000 sevens off at the start, if everything goes just perfect, exact probability for the next 100,000 rolls, you're at 0 delta. It's crazy, right? And again, I think people don't realize that. And I think because it feeds fallacy, right? Why do we care? This is the foundation upon which the casinos win. It's the long game. Like I said before, the casino, they don't care if you win because they know over time when it evens out, the house edge is the thing that's stable and it feeds them. There's no variance in the long game. There's variance in that short game, right? And there's 100 rolls and 1,000 rolls. You get spikes. We win, they win. We win, they win. Over time, it's flat. You'll see that it's down there at less than 1%, and they win all the time in the long game. That's the thing. The casinos never experience variance because they never close. You experience variance because you go in for a minute and you leave. And I say a minute, I mean an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. That's a tiny window of time where you experience the spikes, right? Gives us the feeling of, oh, we did it, we beat them, or got our ass kicked today. We're experiencing that. They're experiencing nothing. They literally experience nothing. They're just making sure that trend line stays straight. That's why they can't take card counters, right? Card counters get them away from that expectation at the bottom. Card counters are the one thing that create variance and consistent variance. We don't. And I think it's important for us to realize that. I think it's a big thing. I'm going to jump ahead here and go to questions because, by the way, I forgot to tell you this. Our friend, Jack Hayes at Jack Ace, put out a great video. Same thing I just did, basically, but he does it in roulette. And he's an actual mathematician. He explains it really, really well. Watch this video. It's called Using the Law of Large Numbers to Predict Streaks. That's the name of the video. There's the icon for it. Go check that one out. I encourage you to go search for other Law of Large Numbers videos. There's a bunch of guys do it in sports gambling. They give great examples. Just understand it. Okay. And again, this goes back to my fallacy talk the other day. The world doesn't owe you shit. Okay. There are 6 ways to roll that 7. There are 3 ways to roll that 4. No matter what happens, you pull out 10 4s in a row, then the chances of a 7 are still 16% on the next roll. It never changes, right? For you and me, we may experience times where it feels like it does, but it never changes. You're not owed a 7. You're not owed a 4. You saw it just now. After 100,000, after a million, after a billion rolls, it's all going to be here at the end anyway, right? We're playing for variance. My daily paycheck, I'm looking at a 2-hit strategy because I'm trying to live in quick spikes. I'm trying to live in variance that aren't going to destroy me. I'm not trying to play 1,000 rolls to make $500. I'm just not, because I don't want to get to the closer, right? To me, short game play in our game. That's why I like to play a shorter game, because the longer I play, the closer we get to that little it's always going to lose, right? The shorter I play, where I have these spikes, yeah, I'll lose big sometimes, but more often than not, we're going to be in a spike that's probably okay for us. And that's the reason why I like a short game better than a long game. Anyway, that's tomorrow's conversation. Let's get the questions and answers here and see what's in the comments. I'm going to search for cues first. Anybody has a question, put a cue in front of it, and I will get to it. Okay. Wayland's Crab says, John, what's the ratio when you come out sevens and 7 outs? Not every shooter throws come out sevens, but every shooter 7 outs. What do you want to know specifically? I can run some numbers for you, Wayland. Give me a specific question on that. Like, the 7's going to come when it comes, right? 16% of the time. If you look at the number of come out throws overall, the number of come out throws, like throws before a point's established, 16% of those throws will be 7s. Shit run or go blind. You can't get out of that. When the shooters are establishing their points, we also know that 60% of the time you're going to lose that point. Like that, you're a 60% favorite once the point's established for the shooter to 7 out right away. We also know that every shooter, that's 100% chance they will 7 out. It's a matter of if they'll hit a point first or not. So each point's got about a 60% chance to win. But give me a specific question. I'll run the math for you for sure. Happy to do it, man. Another PC comment. Only one PC comment really from MSP. Great point that normal rolls will even it out. It's not intuitive. It's not. And when you do that, and I can share the spreadsheet, but when you do it, you say, okay, well, you can be 0 7s for 10,000 rolls, and then still perfect probability after I think it's like, when you do that, I think it goes to 250,000 where it gets down to 0 again. It's crazy. And the reason why is because, 0 out of 10,000 is a huge percentage, but 0 or you're minus 10,000 out of 10,000 is 100%. If you are 10,000 light out of a billion, that number is so infinitesimally small, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't have to get to 0, but the huger the number is, the smaller that variance in the outcomes matters. So like I said, 10,000 out of a billion is nothing. 10,000 out of 100,000 is a lot. And that's why that thing kind of funnels down into always coming down to 0. I think it's a fascinating numerical theory or a theorem. When you look at it, you're like, damn it. It's like, these are the things that make you go, I'm never going to the freaking casino again. Right? When you look at that, you go, it's a rigged system, and it is. It's like, I say this all the time. You can't go to the grocery store and sometimes get free eggs, right? You never go to the grocery store and say, I'm going to get eggs, milk, and whatever. And they're going to go, you know what? Today, because it's 1:33 in the afternoon, you're getting eggs and $10. Like, that doesn't happen. The store always makes profit on everything they sell to you, right? The casino always makes profit on every bet you make. It's just the way that it is. And we have to accept it and be like, I'm like, okay with it. I'm like, fine. Like, that's their business, right? I get enjoyment out of going. I get a charge, right? When I beat them one day and I make money, it's awesome. It's like a little street fight that you're always going to lose. But sometimes you get a punch in, right? Sometimes you get, do you guys watch the UFC fight over the weekend? I was over at Ian's house. We watched the UFC fight. And this guy, I forget the guy's name now, the greatest, the baddest ass dude ever, right? Got beat. Why did he get beat? Because with 1 second left in the first round, he leaned in and a guy healed him in the nose, broke his nose with like a second left in the round, right? Sorry, that's all bets are off. That was the day. That was the day where the variant got him, right? 9 times out of 10, he beats that guy's ass. This one day, he goes out there, throws a come out 7, gets kicked in the face, breaks his nose, and that's it. That's you at the casino, right? That short game will get you sometime. Anyway, let's get out of here, guys. I got to go to work. I got to deal with my students real quick. I got to get on the road. And I think that's all I got. Anything else in chat that you want me to cover? Give me a Q or a PC, and I'm all over it, man. I'm all over it. Let's see. Yeah, you're right, Kevin. One person get 100% payback and the rest get nothing. Everybody can be equally paid out. You're talking about poker or just in general? I mean, I think you're talking to somebody else, but I think that overall point is well stated. Have I given up on dice? No, I've not given up on it. I'll tell you what I know though. What I know is that after how many rolls have I logged for you now? I've logged about 14,000 rolls, I think, something like that. I'm right at random. And the more that you roll, here's the thing, the more that you roll, the closer to random you get, right? When I was at 1,000 rolls, right, I was above. I had a 6.7 SRR. I was killing the box numbers, right? I was whatever. Now that I'm at 13,000 total rolls logged, guess what's happening? The sevens are evening out. Everything has come into where it should be in the end. Do I create more long rolls because of the way I throw the dice? I don't know. If you say that I do, then I would come back and say that I probably throw more short rolls too. Because if my throw is off or my set is wrong, right, I will create more sevens than I should. Is that the truth? I don't know. I don't know. I enjoy it. And I tell JB this, my good friend, he's a mathematician, doesn't believe in dice control, and he's like, "What are you wasting your time for?" And I'm like, "I like it." Like ultimately, even if it doesn't work, I like the rhythm of give me the dice, get my set, stack them up, take the breath, and do the thing. That's a rhythmic thing for me. I just like it. Like I enjoy doing that, whether it works or not, whether I get a good roll and it's confirmation bias or not, it is really immaterial to me. I like the rhythm of it. And when you talk to Gargoyle, who I talk to not as much as I want to, but I talk to him frequently enough. He says, and I think this is a really great way of saying it, that dice influencing is a lifestyle, not a technique. Which I want you to consider that, right? Because to do it good, if that were a thing, you've got to get up in the morning, you got to do your thing, you got to practice, you got to be in kind of this organizational rhythm. It's like going to the gym, right? Get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, drive my ass to the gym, get the workout in, come on home, take a shower, shave, brush your teeth, do my show. And right, if you're in an organizational rhythm every day, guess what happens to your life? Your life becomes really good, right? Because you're taking care of yourself, you're doing your things, you got a routine going. And that routine, that rhythmic routine, I think is good for most of us. That's good. Some people need to live in the world of randomness in their life. That's fine. But if you look at the DI journey, it's that. It's set, grip, breathe, and it's a rhythm thing, right? It's just good, I think, for your mental state to be a little more, I don't want to use the word zen, but a little more zen, a little more in the moment. I heard Caitlin Clark from Iowa was talking in an interview. I'm going to steal this from her. I love this statement where they were talking about how hard was it to all the hype, right? They 25 million people watching that game, and it's all eyes are on her, and she said, you know what, our coach told us, and she's like, we have to be where our feet are. And I'm like, oh my God, that's such a poignant way to say it. Like you got to be where your feet are, like be in the moment, be present. And I think that grip, set, toss, breathe, grip, set, all that, it puts you it puts you where your feet are, right? You're in the moment, you're thinking, your clarity. And to me, it's like just, it's an enjoyment. It just, since I've been doing it, I've been having more fun, even if I'm not very good, because it is kind of a, you know what I mean? So yeah, if I given up on being good at it, I'll probably never be any good at it, but I like what I do. I have a good time trying it. My throw is unique enough that when I'm at the table, people ask about it, and it's another reason to kind of get to know a few folks. So yeah, for that reason, I'm not giving up on it. But no, I'm not going to go out there and say I can throw the dice well enough for you to bet $1,000 on me. I'm never going to be that guy. I'm just not. So I hope that makes some good sense to you, the way I say that. Let's see. I'm looking at comments in here, see if there's anything else that we've got. Let's see. Does DI? Yeah, not me. I am not overconfident at all. I think some people certainly are. And I think we've had this talk before, Jacob. I think, and I think Fives, our mutual friend Fives, has said this all the time. DI is DI. Do what you want to do with it, right? Have your fun, do your thing. If you overbet your skill, and I'm going to put skill in air quotes because most people don't have skill. If you overbet your skill, it's a problem. I've always said this. Like, if I ever had a casino, right? I would absolutely make it DI friendly. Like, come on in, because as much as I love my fellow craps players, and much I love most of my good friends are DIs, right? Great, come on in because a lot of people overbet it, right? Like I'm doing in the garage, right? I'm going $2,500 across out there, right? Looking for 2 hits. Can you imagine thinking you're that good to go out to the casino and drop a literal paycheck on the table? A literal paycheck on the table for 2 rolls because you think you're that good. That's some scary stuff. That's some pretty scary stuff. Now, without the bankroll we've got in the garage, you wouldn't do it. And I think you're right, Jacob. I think being overconfident is the problem. And that's why I say the casino could give a crap because even if you take them for a little bit of a run, who cares? That funnel is going to come down to 0 again anyway. And most of you will overbet it and burn 640. And actually, that burning of 640 covers the rest of the people that won a little bit. So I think, yeah, that's where I live on that thing. I think people overbet their skill for sure. King Dice Craps, which is Buckeye. DI is really for people with a large bankroll that can go $1,200. See, now I don't know. Some people would say that. Some people would say that DI is better for long rolls, right? There are people who say, "Hey, I'm a DI. I can throw 20 plus," right? Some people say I'm a DI. I can regress and I can go 20 plus, right? However you see that, you see that. Like I said, for me, it's more of a mental state rhythm thing than it is a outcomes thing. That's how I look at it right now. Where I am in my journey with it, I take Gargoyle's words to heart. It's a mental state. It's a state of mind. It's just, like I said, it's grip. It's set, grip, breathe, throw. Set, grip, breathe, throw. High five, have fun. That's where it is for me. I don't know that I can do anything with it, but it's, I'm enjoying the ride for sure. And like I said, my toss is cool enough that people want to talk to me. So there it is. If we could all guarantee 1 roll out of 7, and that's exactly right. Right? If you can guarantee 1, you'd be a millionaire. You never lose. Right? Go out there, table max across, take 1 hit and roll every single day. Can you imagine? Can you imagine being that good? Man, that's what dreams are made of, right? Dreams are made of that. All right, guys, I am out of here. I do have to go. I have to get out. It's 8:45 or so. So anyway, yeah, Kevin, there's mindfulness to DI that I throw. And that's where I am, dude. It's a mindfulness thing. It's not even a let me get results thing. It used to be like I was trying really hard to like get good at it. When you look at the slow motion, you're like, I'm never gonna get good at it. There's too many variables in there, but I really enjoy it. I really enjoy doing it, and I think that's fun. And I think the mental hurdle of if I change this thing and do the thing, even if it doesn't matter, it's still like I'm a weirdo. Like my brain doesn't turn off. You know what I mean? So I'm always working ideas and that kind of thing. So for me, for somebody whose brain doesn't turn off, it's fun to look at the dice and try and figure shit out, even if none of it works. I'm out of here, you guys. Have a great day. Jacob says bye-bye too. Y'all have a good one. See you tomorrow. And that's it, guys. Dice are out. Bye.